Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. Check the Post Nebraska Nation. Brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. Tomorrow I'm going to put out my prediction show, the actual score that I think it'll be for Nebraska, Oklahoma, and then I'll be off by 4 million points and it won't matter. But I'm going to talk about how Nebraska could potentially earn some respect this weekend against Oklahoma in that show. So look for that show sometime tomorrow as well. But in my previous show, I talked about the keys to the Oklahoma game. And one of the things I talked about was the offensive line. The offensive line has not played well enough this year. Now keep in mind, okay, my former teammate, Greg Austin, coaches the offensive line. And we've chatted. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to repeat it for a millionth time. But quickly, he said he has 9 guys in that room that he thinks that he can rotate and can legit compete at a Big Ten level. But up to this point, that offensive line has not played well enough. All right, now they are a young offensive line. They got 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and a junior. Okay, so of the 5 guys, 0 are seniors, and only 1's an upperclassman, which means you have 4 underclassmen. And they're not the biggest line on planet Earth, especially by Big Ten standards. You think about Iowa and Wisconsin, and it's like a freaking, mountain range walking up to the ball before they snap it every time. That's what those teams are built around. But we are still pretty big, pretty tall, and the average weight for the offensive line is 307 pounds. So it's over 300 pounds. And this is more of a zone-type running scheme, which that size fits. Okay, Wisconsin, Iowa, they're more power, if you will. So you want them bigger, big boys up front. Now, you look at some of the teams that we've played so far. You look at their defensive lines. You look at their fronts. Okay, how big are they? How good are they? How experienced are they? Now, Illinois, they had 2 freshmen who started for them on their D-line. And when they put that 4th D lineman down, remember, they didn't go odd, they went even. When they put that 4th D lineman down, their average size up front was under 300 pounds. So they were young and they were a little bit smaller. And D linemen tend to be a little bit smaller, more athletic, better looking than offensive linemen. But that's just how it is. But we still should have had the size advantage. All right, and there was no disadvantage in the experience department. You look at Fordham. I mean, my goodness, as you would expect, their biggest guy was 280. Looking at their 2 deep, it was 280, 280, 270, 255, 270, 245, 255. I mean, the farther you go down, 230, 220. So they were not big. So we should have been able to have more success from the start of the game for 4 full quarters consistently versus Fordham. You look at Buffalo, again, not a gigantically big team. You look at their starters, they averaged 261 pounds along their front. Okay, and 3 of their starters on their front 4 were under 275 pounds, 228, 272, 248. They had 1 guy at 295. So we've got to be able to be more physical. Because as I mentioned in that previous show, the keys to the Oklahoma game, we're not going to be able to out-athlete them. They've got athletes, they've got speed. You look at their defense. They're not overly big either. But man, they are fast and they are a blitzing, attacking defense. And that Oklahoma defense hasn't been great as of, the past few years. It's supposed to be much better this year. That's one of the things that Oklahoma fans are the most excited about. So the size of the players won't be that different for our offensive line. It's going to be the speed and the attacking, blitzing, and blitz combinations that they're going to see. Can they read, react, adjust, and can they keep their composure in a hostile environment in Norman, Oklahoma? I'm going to talk about what I see from the O-line. And obviously there's been some good things, but not consistently enough. When I'm teaching a 6th grader how to block, just the fundamentals, it's really no different than when you're in college. Now the blocking schemes, who you're blocking, all those, that changes a ton. But the fundamentals of how to block don't really change. There's really 4 things that impact how well you're going to block. Number 1, as far as fundamentals and techniques, number 1, he who makes contact first has a gigantic advantage. When that ball snapped, think about it. If 2 objects are going boom, you're going to be stalemated. Okay, but if one object is going faster and hits the other one harder because he hits first and he's flying off the ball, that's a huge advantage. I feel like we've got to get off the ball faster and harder and with just plain old bad intentions, more than what I've seen up to this point. Number 2, inside hands. Okay, so everyone wants to bench press and bench press 500 pounds, and I'm big into the bench press just because it makes you look good. It's cool. Everybody does it. Why not? It's fun. But this is, as far as fundamentals and techniques in football, this is terrible. First of all, your hands should be inside. Okay, inside hand placement. Also, the thumbs should be up. So actually, how you have your hands on a bar and a bench press, it's just meant to get you strong. And then you apply it to football fundamentals and techniques. Your thumbs should actually be up. And that's how you can get a hold of this chest plate. If your hands start to get wide, whether your thumbs are up or down, you're going to get called for holding. But if you're in here, it's not very often you're going to get called for holding. There's a chest plate right here. I'm only grabbing my shirt, but that chest plate you can grab. Inside hands, thumbs up. Then you talk about pad level. Everybody has heard low man wins. Everybody's heard it because it's true. And last but certainly not least, finishing the block. All right, a lot of times, if guys hit at the same time, nobody's got that initial advantage. They're both fighting for inside hands. They both got good pad level. It's he who goes harder longer, more often than not, will win. Moving those feet throughout the down, finishing the block. All right, now you see some guys doing these things. What you do not see is the offensive line as a whole doing it consistently, okay? Because if we're going to have a chance versus Oklahoma, all right, we've got to create some holes and some running lanes. We can't rely on broken plays, okay? Which is kind of what Adrian Martinez put on his Houdini Cape versus Buffalo, worked out well. Oklahoma's a little bit better. We've got to be able to line up and create some holes. Until next time, Husker Nation, go big, red nose. Remember, throw the bug. Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.